Hello and welcome to Sharing the Light and our Reverend Robert Griffin. Sharing the Light is an online ministry opportunity at the Sunshine Cathedral located here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Hello and welcome. I'm Reverend Robert Griffin. Today on Sharing the Light, our topic for today is that we're going to be discussing, I need my cheat sheet for this one surprisingly, is there a continued need for affirming gay outreach? A lot's been going on in our neighborhoods and around the country around gay affirming actions and gay teens, and so today's topic is we're going to focus in on that and invite our senior pastor, Reverend Dr. Durrell Watkins, to address this question for us. So, Reverend Watkins.
Well, that's strangely topical always, I think, in our community. There is this sort of myth that we generate, that we allow ourselves to believe, that because we have found a place and we have formed a community and we feel safe and affirmed and we get to have a good time, and we start to think that our experience is normative, that because we are who we are and we get to take communion with our partner, or maybe we get to meet a partner in church, and we get to invite our parents to church and see how we worship every once in a while, and it becomes part of our daily routines. The church is part of our life, and sometimes for a lot of us the primary part of our life, our social life, and so we start to think that it's just all okay. You know, the problems have been fixed. Homophobia doesn't exist. People love us, and all is well in the world because we have this experience, and that's wonderful. It's also a little deceptive, though, as states work very hard to repeal various civil rights or to write discrimination into their constitutions so that same-gender people can't marry, or so that they can't adopt. And that sort of thing, and so there's the reality that we experience because we are part of a community that we have formed, and then there's another reality that not everyone has benefited from that community yet. There's still homophobia, there's still transphobia, there's still sexism even within the gay community. There's still a lot of issues to push, a lot of work to be done. And so, of course, there's still need for gay affirming outreach. You know, sometimes people will say, why do we talk about this so much? You know, that if I come to church 10 weeks in a row, I'll hear something gay maybe a third of the time. Well, I'm actually maybe embarrassed that that's all you've heard it, you know, because I get comfortable too, and I just want to talk about, you know, whatever the biblical text is, or whatever the season is, or whatever the day is. But the fact is that we do have to keep mentioning over and over and over, AIDS isn't over, homophobia isn't over, prejudice isn't over, gay teens still feel isolated in their own homes. Gay teens, gay children, that's the one minority group that has nowhere to go unless we are very out there to let them know. Because say you're an Asian family that moves into an all-white neighborhood. Well, even if kids at school are mean to you all day long, you're still going to come home to your Asian family, people that look like you, sound like you, share your experience. If you are a gay child and you go to school, all the straight people are mean to you, and then you come home to your straight family, you still have no one. You're as alone, there's no safe place for you to even explore who you are, talk about who you are. And so because that is still a reality for so many people, of course we have to be very upfront, very out there, affirming that gay and lesbian people, transgender people, bisexual people, they are part of God's, the diversity of creation, and that they are who they're supposed to be. We're part of the wonderful creation that God has called good, and I don't think we can ever, I think it's a mistake if we ever stop saying that over and over and over again, because someone still needs to hear it, someone still hasn't heard it for the first time.
What would you say is the major issue with becoming too complacent? You address some of the issues around, we live somewhat in communities, and those communities sometimes can become self-isolated, and we don't know how to break out of the bubble because we've gotten there, we become comfortable. What's that danger of becoming too comfortable?
Well, knowledge is power. And if you become too comfortable, you might not be aware of things, and you won't have that knowledge that you need for empowerment. I remember we, of course, moved here from the Northeast. You and I, you were in the Boston area, and I was in Manhattan, and we moved here together. And those urban northeastern cities had a different level of maybe activism for gay and lesbian people. And then we come here, and I think all of that was still sort of fresh in our minds and in our experience, and we came here as these northeastern liberal out. And I remember in a meeting here where we talked about our marginalized community and how the people around that table were furious that I said that we were marginalized. They didn't feel marginalized. Well, they had been so disconnected from their own marginalization, they weren't even aware. And I remember being angry and saying, well, if we're not marginalized, let's just all go down to the courthouse and get married then.
Right.
And that sort of shocked us into an awareness that, oh wow, yeah, we got so used to we're all together, we treat each other nice, but we're not the whole world. And not everyone has even found our little slice of heaven. And so we have to be aware there's another reality. We have to speak truth to power. We have to speak to that reality so that those who haven't found us yet can find this place of safety and comfort and joy and empowerment, and at the same time know that yes, we've made progress, but it's not over yet. And until it is, we've still got work to do. And if tomorrow we were given every right, every consideration, every privilege that anyone else has, then it would still be our responsibility to find the next group that doesn't have it and work on their behalf, because we should remember what that's like.
What's the one thing you would say to somebody who may be watching this on the internet who have not found this, but they have found a physical location, but they found this via the internet? What's the one thing you would say to them in their place of trying to bridge the gap between where they are and to this place?
Well, luckily there are about 250 metropolitan community churches throughout the world, and more study groups and social groups forming all the time, affiliating with metropolitan community churches. And so there may be a metropolitan community church in their area. Now it may be more liberal or more conservative, it may be more sort of high church or more low church or evangelical. They all look very, very different. But the one thing they have in common is they're going to affirm your sacred value. They're going to recognize your dignity as a human person and as a child of God. And so there may be one in their community. If there's not one in their community, there may be a United Church of Christ or a Unitarian Universalist Church or Society of Friends or Religious Science or Unity Church or a Reformed Jewish congregation that is gay affirming. So there may be a place for them. And if there's not any of that, well, then there is certainly the internet. And so you can find places like this to at least know that until you can get to college, until you can move, until you can get to a more urban area or whatever, there's at least this on the internet to support you, to encourage you, to let you know that you're okay. I think also that some people think, well, as long as I'm tolerated, that's good enough. And
you mentioned gay affirming,
yes.
And I know that's we don't have time for that.
We don't have time to go into that entirely, but I just want to say that
two different things.
Yes, exactly. Being accepted is better than not being accepted. Being accepted is not the same as being celebrated, though. And so it's fine if someone will let you be there as long as you're quiet or assimilate. But metropolitan community churches are a place where we just live out loud, and that is a whole different level of empowerment and joy.
Exactly. Well, thank you, and thank you for joining us today on Sharing the Light, and we look forward to you watching us and having you back again. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, please visit us on our website at www.sunshinecathedral.org or write to me with your questions and comments at robert@sunshinecathedral.org. And now for our final word from our senior minister, Reverend Durrell Watkins.
We're so glad you were with us today. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Sharing the Light. If you're ever in the Fort Lauderdale area, we hope you'll worship with us at 1480 Southwest 9th Avenue. Our services are at 9 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. on Sundays. Of course, you can always watch all of our programming and read our literature on the website. You can make prayer requests or donations on the website as well. In any case, we wish you blessings on your journey.
Thank you for joining us here on Sharing the Light.